So let's say that you're using your Systems to Win training session agenda template to create a training session agenda for an upcoming training, and you want to have a PDF. You're going to create a PDF to hand out to all the people in the class that you're going to give next Monday on what do they need to know. So you're using your Systems to Win template to create that. It just makes it a lot easier, and that happens to be one of the many Systems to Win templates that has a column for hide and show rows with a hide and show rows button. So when you click that button, notice what happens. I'm going to show all my rows. Now anything that had the word true in it in that column gets revealed. So you've got these instructor notes that only you need to know this stuff. You don't want everybody else to see that, but it's all in one document so that you can quickly click your button and then hide your rows so that anything that had the word true in it now gets hidden. And now when you go to print your PDF is going to only have the things you want your students to see, not yourself. So this is one of many Systems to Win templates that has this button called Hide and Show Rows, and it works as simply as that. Anything that has the word true in it, when you can either show all, or when you hide, it'll hide the things that have the word true in it.
Now, because we actually listen to our customers when they come up with great ideas, we recently improved the Hide and Show Rows button to have special features for some unique templates. For example, here's that same Hide and Show Rows button on the value stream map, and notice that we've got a reasonable number of rows unhidden to get started. And then you say, gosh, I want to click that button and show all rows, same as before. And now you say, gosh, there's a lot of rows here. Look, there's this whole tier for pre-production. What we're doing here is we've got a quoting process because we're an engineer to order that needs to happen before the critical path tier, which maybe we've got some simultaneous processes that happen at the same time and feed a downstream process. We can have multiple layers of those. And then here's your value stream totals, and here's a whole section for analysis and optionally unhidden. And then below that, you've got maybe post-production for accounts receivable that happens after we produce. So you've got all these tiers that could be unhidden. You say, no wonder I need something more than true and false. So for this one, the button works a little bit differently. You click it, and now you're going to click Show Only Rows that contain this code. And then these are your user-defined codes. Maybe you're in the healthcare industry. You want to see only things related to healthcare. We're going to start with simple, and then you say, well, which tiers? Maybe I want a simultaneous process tier and maybe post-production. That's what I want. So now when I click the button, it'll show only those rows that contain the code 1 somewhere in it, and that now here's that second tier of simultaneous processes, and it'll always show the critical path. And then here's the analyses I wanted to see. And below that, I wanted to see a tier for post-production. Now notice that we are on the sample worksheet down here. And the purpose of a sample worksheet is to show you how things work. You don't actually do your own work on a sample. But the sample has the many different codes in here, so that when you click the button, you can learn things and say, I want to show codes that are relevant to healthcare or to a service and office environment. And that way it'll show you only those rows that are relevant to a service and office environment or a production environment. And it gives you a starting point so you can start to think, well, what are the types of analyses that I want on my value stream? But remember, you don't do your work on a sample sheet. You just learn there. When you're ready, you go to the help worksheet and you click this open a blank template sheet button. Notice how there's 3 sheets. You click the button. Now there's 4. This is where you do your work. You rename it and call it your as is. And now you're ready to say, what is it? It's my as is, and you're ready to start going. So this is where you would define. Notice that on the template sheet, there's very few things showing. We started out real simple, and there's only a few codes that have a 1. There are none of those other fancy codes. This is your sheet. So when you click it and you say, hey, I want to show all rows, you notice there's only 1s in there. So you would put in your own codes as to what you feel you want to see. And they could be any codes that you want. So if I say, hey, I want number of workers and I'm D, and anywhere that I put the word D or the code D, and I go, oh, I want these things too, and I want these things too. It's Control C, Control V. It's Excel, just like any other Excel. So you say, okay, I want my D code. And now when I click Hide and Show Rows, and I use my drop-down list, you go, what D code? I haven't defined it yet. So the where you anything shows up in a drop-down list is defined on your DV worksheet. So you just put the word D in there and say this is what Dean thinks there should be there. So you can put any user-defined code there, and then when you come back into your sheet and use your drop-down list, it will now say your code, whatever your code was. And it's as easy as that. So now this is your template. This is what you're supposed to be defining, what you care about seeing, and it's as easy as that you can quickly hide or show the things that you want to see. And you might put 2 different levels of codes for your simple versus your complex, and have as many single-digit codes as you need to show different things to your target audiences.